Student protesters take over McGill University. A pro-Hamas Antifa-ringleader charged with hate crimes. This is the Great White North Report. So welcome back to the channel. It seems that this pro-Hamas thing will never die in Canada as long as Israel continues to wage a war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. And now people here in Canada are just imitating what's going on in the States with people taking over universities. This one's a McGill encampment, and student protesters and their supporters chanted in front of a pro-Palestinian encampment on McGill University downtown. This is just a shame. You know, it's one thing to protest. They've already done it multiple times. Nothing's going to happen as far as the war in Gaza is concerned. I'd be more lenient. I'd be more sympathetic if they were anti-Hamas, but they're not. Many of them glorified that Hamas did what they did on October 7th. So I have no support for these people. None whatsoever. The Palestinian flag is not a Canadian flag. I would burn the damn things, but I don't see them in my area. Whoever's making these flags is making a killing, because these aren't free. So what they've been doing is they did a Columbine University, UCLA and whatnot, and they've taken over part of the campus, and they made it very uncomfortable for students who want to go to class. Now this is a summer semester, so there's not as many students there, and the university doesn't know what to do. Now the Quebec Superior Court rejected an injunction request that would have forced them to leave because some students didn't feel safe. And I understand the Jewish students that go to that school would not feel safe. This group's been on campus since Saturday, beginning with 20 tents and growing to an area of about 4,000 square meters by Wednesday evening. First of all, these people are here since Saturday. They don't work, obviously. They don't have jobs. And they say they're determined to stay put until the university divests from companies with business interests in Israel. So that means they don't want anyone to do business with Israel. Any company in the university will use its money to invest in companies that do business with Israel. Most of the time, the university doesn't even know, because they go through major banks, and banks will invest in all sorts of fun stuff to try and make them and their customers money. So they want to get rid of anything that is anti-Israel. I prefer to do business with Israel. Why would I want to do business with Palestine? That's doing business with terrorists. With Israel, it's a democratically elected country, and I support Israel more than I would support any Palestinian state. So it's excellent news. I think we're on the right side of history, and that fights for equality and justice end up prevailing, said Rima Krizat, a recent graduate of University de Quebec in Montreal, who's been joining the group during the day. First of all, that means you are trespassing. You're not even part of that university. Fight for equality and justice for who? Fighting for justice and equality for Hamas, who went over the border and killed a lot of people, and then went scurrying back to their tunnels and hid underneath a civilian population? Yeah, that's justice and equality. This is Canada. That has nothing to do with us, really. They've made it something. You want justice and equality, then start protesting in front of the Chinese embassy. If there's 2 million Uyghur Muslims being held in concentration camps, there's probably a couple of million people being held in North Korean concentration camps too, but they're Koreans. She's from southern Lebanon, whose family members have lost their homes and been displaced by Israeli bombardments in recent weeks. Well, tell Hezbollah to stop sending rockets into Israel. Again, she approves of Hezbollah, so it's okay for Hezbollah to launch rockets into Israel, doing the same thing, killing and displacing people on the northern border of Israel, but it's not okay for Israel to retaliate. It's called a war. Hezbollah and Hamas have been waging a war against Israel for a long time, and Israel has held both hands behind their back. But October 7th proved that Israel finally laid down the gauntlet, took both hands from behind their backs, and have started striking back hard. And now they realize they're going to lose. Hamas is on the ropes. Their senior leadership lives in luxury in Qatar, while the people suffer. And Canada is expected to fund these people who started a war. Free Palestine. They had their chance many times to have their own country. Gaza was effectively independent, but because Hamas continued to fire rockets into Israel, and Israel had a loose blockade to stop weapons getting in, Plus, Israel was feeding these people and allowing free electricity and water, but that got cut off because of Hamas. Learn something. She wanted to show support because of New York police. This isn't the United States. This is Canada. I want the police to come in and crack down on these people. You are trespassing on a university that's not your own by staying there. It's not like you're staying at a friend's house on a dorm overnight. This is different. I was so mad, I was so scared of them. She said, referring to the McGill students worrying Montreal police could do something similar if the injunction request was approved. It should be approved. The police should go in and clear them out. Treat them like a homeless encampment, because that's what they are now. Again, these people, do you guys have jobs? So McGill shares video of what it calls unequivocally anti-Semitic behavior at encampment. It contains the text of 20 jihadists against one Jewish Israeli student being told to go back to Europe is being investigated by the university. So already they're very anti-Semitic, but the members of the encampment said the people pictured in the video are not part of their group. Well, that's what you attract. You attract these people. So the protesters are saying that they want the university to divest from Israel, saying being complicit in holding the apartheid regime of Israel. It's not apartheid. Israel is not an apartheid. They don't even know what the meaning of the word is. Arab Muslims have full rights in Israel. They're so stupid, these people are. They quote the numbers from the Gaza Health Ministry, 34,000, which includes militants. The vast majority of this number of 34,000 are militants. Hamas combines the two together to make it sound more bigger than it is. Also, Hamas Health Ministry doesn't even know the real number because they don't keep very good records. So McGill hunger strike for Palestine students for justice in Palestine released a list of 50 companies the university invests in. The group says these companies have linked to ongoing Palestinian genocide. It's not a genocide because those who claim to be Palestinian are one of the fastest growing population groups. It's the only genocide that actually creates more people than it loses. Genocide is when people die massively. The words they use are just amazing. So they want to divest from Lockheed Martin. Well, Lockheed Martin produces the best fighter jets. Why wouldn't we invest in that? So these people are just... who cares? Unrealistic. McGill funds genocide. No, they don't. But then we go to this one. Ottawa woman 47 faces charges after allegedly assaulting police officer and 2 others. So we know this lady, Deanna Sharif. She is a professional Antifa protester. She jumps on every bandwagon just like a lot of people do. A couple of years ago it was the Every Child Matters, where people were jumping on the bandwagon for Orange Shirt Day and all this. And people got really upset and a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon. Now where are these people? It's pretty quiet. Then we had the Black Lives Matter protest and a lot of people jumped on that bandwagon. So this lady, she is a pro-Hamas Antifa-ringleader. Also, she's trans, I believe, or part of the LGBTQ community, which doesn't go with Hamas. She's a far lefty protesting for a far right group. Isn't that stupid? Deanna Sharif, pro-trans Antifa-organizer, was charged with various criminal offenses by Ottawa Police on Saturday. Assault police officer intent to prevent an arrest, obstruct a police officer in the execution of their duty, assault with a weapon ×2, possession of a weapon dangerous to the public, harassment by threatening conduct, hate motivated ×2, intimidation by disorderly following. She is a professional protester. She's probably on welfare, though she joked once she gets money from Trudeau. Who's funding all these protesters? They're pretty well organized. Well, Action for Palestine, Palestinian Action, Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, probably some rich people in Muslim countries like Saudi Arabia. I wouldn't be surprised if they fund on their own dime. Not the government itself, but just individuals. Pakistan. That's where the money's coming from. So she's in jail overnight pending a bail hearing, and I think her bail was denied. Here it is right here. She claims she received funding from Justin Trudeau. It was on audio. But really, she probably hasn't. Antifa claims to be non-violent, but we know from the States it's very violent. And this chick is just a piece of work. She takes taking part in another pop-up demonstration with another victim attempting to walk near a group of demonstrators to get the demonstration. The woman allegedly assaulted the victim with a handheld sound amplifier and continued to verbally assault and impede the victim while they were attempting to walk away. She followed a different victim from a religious event that evening while shouting hateful messages while assaulting him with a handheld sound amplifier. All victims received minor physical injuries. So she's definitely dangerous and should stay locked up. I would put her in jail for a few years. Let her rot. I don't know what happened to her in her life that made her go this way. What lunacy she's under. How she became like she is, like a fanatic. The lunatic fringe. But these pro-Palestinian protests are bringing out the radical Islamists, the far-left lunatic fringe, the communists, the anti-government Antifa-organization. It's bringing out the very people that helped vote Trudeau in. But it goes to show you the mindset of the government. It's okay. The trucker convoy, again, lasted far longer than it should have. But it was a direct protest against something that was very Canadian. This stuff, this pro-Palestinian stuff, is not Canadian. It's not a Canadian-born protest. It's protesting something that's happening on the other side of the world, which has no bearing on Canadian life. I hope Israel pounds Hamas and takes over the Gaza Strip and runs it. I'd rather see the Jordanians retake parts of the West Bank. The problem is those who claim to be Palestinians were kicked out of almost every country they've been in. And they made a mess of Lebanon. Now we're bringing that same group of people over here as refugees and immigrants. And look what they're creating. Another mess. Instead of getting on with their lives and being useful, they protest. And then they throw words like genocide and apartheid. If they call for the surrender of Hamas, that would be great. But none of these groups do. And this Deanna Sharif, she better watch it, because if she ever went to the Gaza, Hamas would take her up to the tallest building and throw her off. That's how much they view the LGBTQ community. It's an unholy alliance in Canada, and one that will backfire eventually. So let's keep her in jail. So my end, I'm not in favor of these protests. We have better things to worry about than this. And I'm hoping Israel wins their war. But any Canadians out there, let me know what you guys think of what's going on at McGill University. And also what happened to this Antifa-ringleader, Deanna Sharif. Should she stay in jail? Leave comments in the comment section. Until next time, this has been the Great White North Report.